LinkedIn presents.
The people selling so-called AI systems and the hype around them would like us to voluntarily give up our agency in these matters. They tell us that AI, or even AGI, is inevitable, or at least that systems like ChatGPT are here to stay. But none of this is inevitable. AI and AGI are poorly defined concepts, and there is no reason to believe that synthetic text extruding machines would be a sensible step towards them under any definition.
Happy Wednesday, friends. I'm Michael Kovnat, and this is the Next Big Idea Daily, quick masterclasses from the best new books written and read by the authors themselves. Don't forget to hit follow in your podcast player and sign up for our free newsletter using the link in the episode notes. Today, let's talk about AI. Oh, I know, you probably think you've heard it all already. Artificial intelligence is going to help us live forever, or AI is going to wipe out our species. But my guests today have a somewhat different take. What if AI isn't really the world-altering technology that we're being encouraged to either celebrate or fear? What if, at bottom, it's kind of a con, the latest in a long string of products designed to separate you from your money and line the pockets of the rich? Linguist Emily M and sociologist Alex Hanna have written a new book called The AI Con: How to Fight Big Tech's Hype and Create the Future We Want. And in it, they argue that much of what's being sold as artificial intelligence is less a scientific breakthrough than a carefully packaged illusion. The tools may be new, but the goals, cutting labor costs, automating services, concentrating power, are anything but. Emily and Alex join us with the key insights from their book right after this quick break.
From LinkedIn News, I'm Leah Smart, host of Everyday Better, an award-winning podcast dedicated to personal development. Join me every week for captivating stories and research to find more fulfillment in your work and personal life. Listen to Everyday Better on the LinkedIn Podcast Network, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
From LinkedIn News, I'm Jessie Hempel, host of the Hello Monday podcast. Start your week with the Hello Monday podcast. We'll navigate career pivots. We'll learn where happiness fits in. Listen to Hello Monday with me, Jessie Hempel, on the LinkedIn Podcast Network or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Emily M. Bender, professor of linguistics at the University of Washington.
And I'm Alex Hanna, Director of Research at the Distributed AI Research Institute. Together, we're the authors of The AI Con: How to Fight Big Tech's Hype and Create the Future We Want.
Our book is an exploration of the hype around so-called artificial intelligence, of whose interests it serves, and of the harm being done under this umbrella. It's a fairly heavy topic, but we find humor along the way and also hope in the form of ideas on how to push back. The tech that's driving the current wave of AI hype is built on a parlor trick. Chatbots like ChatGPT are very impressive technology, but maybe not like you think. They cannot, in fact, fulfill the impressive range of functions they are sold as fulfilling, more on that in a bit, but rather they are designed to impress us. The key to the parlor trick has to do with how we as people make use of language. You might think it's a simple matter of just decoding what the words say, but in fact, the process is both far more complex and far more social. We interpret language by relying on everything we know or guess about the person who said the words and whatever common ground we share with them. And then we make inferences about what they must have been trying to convey by choosing those words in particular. We do this instinctively and reflexively. We can't help ourselves. So when we encounter synthetic text, of the kind that comes out of ChatGPT and its ilk, we interpret it by imagining a mind behind the text, even though there is no mind there. In other words, it is our linguistic skills and the social skills we wrap around them that make it so easy for the purveyors of chatbots to fool us, and in many cases themselves, into perceiving chatbots as reasoning entities.
AI is not going to take your job, but it will make your job a lot worse. We highlight how much of the purpose of so-called AI technology serves to remove humans from the equation at work. The story of the Writers Guild of America strike is instructive here. In 2023, the Writers Guild of America East and West, or the WGA, the labor union representing Hollywood writers, went on strike for a number of reasons. including raising the pay rate that writers receive from streaming services. They also struck to ensure that they wouldn't be reduced to babysitters for chatbots, tasked to write scripts based off of harebrained ideas from movie and television producers. John Lopez, a member of the WGA's AI working group, noted that writers could be paid the rewrite rate for dealing with AI generated content, which is much less than the pay rate for an original script. We've seen the threat of image and text generators drastically reduce the number of job opportunities for graphic designers, video game artists, and journalists. This is not because these tools can adequately perform the task of any of these professionals in their everyday work, but they perform well enough for careers to be cut short and for workers to be rehired at a fraction of what they had been paid to fix the sloppy outputs of so called AI. Furthermore, systems which get called AI are often a thin veneer which hides the tried and true corporate strategy of outsourcing labor to people in the majority world, also called the Global South. Many of these workers moderate awful content online, test chatbots for toxic outputs, and even remotely drive vehicles, which are advertised as being fully automated. Luckily, workers have been able to push back, both by considered labor action, industrial sabotage, especially through creative tools for artists like Nightshade and Glaze, which prevent their work from being used for training image generation models, and political education.
The purpose of the AI con is to disconnect people from social services. Because we use language in just about every sphere of activity, and because the synthetic text extruding machines can be trained to mimic language use across all of those spheres, it can seem like we are just about to have technology that can provide medical diagnoses, personalized tutoring, wise decision-making in the allocation of government services, legal representation, and more, all for just the cost of electricity, plus whatever the companies making the chatbots want to charge. But in fact, in all of these cases, it's not the words that matter, but the actual thought that goes into them and the relationships they help us to build and maintain. In these cases, so-called AI systems are only good for those who want to redirect funding away from social services and justify austerity measures. Meanwhile, those in power will be sure to get services from actual people while foisting the shoddy facsimiles off on everyone else. The head of Health AI at Google, Greg Corrado, for example, said he wouldn't want Google's MedPalm system to be part of his family's healthcare journey. That didn't stop him from bragging about how it supposedly passed a medical licensing exam. It didn't, but more to the point, designing systems to pass multiple-choice exams about medical situations is not an effective way to build actually useful medical technology. In these domains, AI hype takes the form of specious claims of technological solutions to social problems, based, at best, on spurious and unfounded evaluations of the systems being sold.
AI is not going to kill us all, but climate change might. There was a point in time in Silicon Valley and, unfortunately, Washington, D.C., when an idiosyncratic yet serious question posed to people working on technology and/or tech policy was, what is your P-doom? P-doom refers to probability of doom, or in other words, the likelihood that so-called AI would somehow kill all of humanity, either by gaining sentience and realizing that humans are the bad guys, by fighting for their own survival by hook or crook, or by being mistakenly optimized to produce paperclips, and unfortunately eliminating humans in the process. This doomerism is predicated on the development of something called artificial general intelligence, or AGI. AGI is poorly defined, but the basic idea is a system which can do a variety of tasks as well or better than humans. Unfortunately, doomerism has serious purchase with some technologists and policymakers, and is predicated on a body of unseemly ideologies which buttress it, including effective altruism, long-termism, and rationalism. These ideologies take the moral philosophy of utilitarianism to the extreme, suggesting that we need to discount harm in the present to save the billions of trillions of humans who will live in some undefined future. These ideologies are eugenicist in their origins and implications. Meanwhile, we are likely to fail to meet the Paris Agreement's goal to limit the increase in global average temperature to well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. And AI is making this problem worse. The data centers which host these tools are generating vast amounts of excess carbon, Semiconductors used for their parts are leaching forever chemicals into the ground, and backup generators are projected to cause more respiratory illnesses in the poorest parts of the US and elsewhere. Not only are the robots not going to take over the world, but their production is going to make the climate crisis that much worse.
None of this is inevitable, and there are things we can do to build a better future. The people selling so-called AI systems and the hype around them would like us to voluntarily give up our agency in these matters. They tell us that AI, or even AGI, is inevitable, or at least that systems like ChatGPT are here to stay. But none of this is inevitable. AI and AGI are poorly defined concepts, and there is no reason to believe that synthetic text extruding machines would be a sensible step towards them under any definition. We do have agency, both collectively and individually. Collectively, we can push for regulation that prevents their being used on us, and for labor contracts that keep us in control of our work. On an individual level, we can refuse to use so-called AI systems. We can be critical consumers of automation, being sure we understand what's being automated, how it was evaluated, and why it's being automated. We can also be critical consumers of journalism about technology, looking for and supporting work that holds power to account. And finally, we can and should engage in what we dub ridicule as praxis. The synthetic media extruding machines are janky and tacky, and we can have fun pointing that out.
Thank you, Emily and Alex. Okay, everyone, you can get a copy of the AI Con wherever you get your books. That's our show for the day. If you got something out of it, please leave a rating or review in your podcast player so others can find it too. And go to nextbigideaclub.com to find out about our hardback subscription club. That's where we send you the best new nonfiction books as selected by our curators, Malcolm Gladwell, Adam Grant, Susan Cain, and Daniel Pink. Check it out at nextbigideaclub.com. I'm Michael Kovnat. See you tomorrow.